We wanted to talk tonight about being intuitive, which is somehow quite similar to being mindful, but we can go through the difference. There are some differences anyway, I think. And I'm specialized in, I'm a psychotherapist and I'm specialized in eating disorders. And I really believe that eating intuitively and mindfully is key to a healthy weight or healthy way of eating, and then a healthy weight, of course. And yeah, so I'm happy to have these conversations with Georgie, who's a intuitive fitness coach. How would you define yourself?
Yeah, so hi, I'm Georgie. I am an intuitive fitness coach. So I'm a personal trainer. I teach a lot of group exercise as well. And I'm also a breathwork coach. So really the combination of breathwork and fitness is what brought me to the idea of intuitive fitness, of how it really served my clients, especially seeing as all my clients ended up being female, that it actually works a lot better for clients certainly of my generation and actually of any age, to break up with their fitness trackers, to ditch calorie counting, to ditch the numbers, the rigidness, the restrictiveness, and really start listening to their bodies in terms of when they want to work out, what kind of workout they want to do, what serves their body, rather than relying on so much stimulation from social media in the outside world and etc. So yeah, I would say I am an intuitive fitness coach.
Yeah, and I think being intuitive is something which is underrated, and that we should be intuitive in our in everything we do in life.
Yeah.
We should be more intuitive, when it's late and we feel like we're tired and we think, well, it's only 9, I'm not going to sleep now. But then, yeah, your body is telling you that you're tired, so it's probably the right time to sleep. Same goes with our relationships, with friendships or romantic relationships. Is that relationship okay? Do I feel good about it? It's about, and then we, instead of listening to how we feel, we just tend to tick boxes and think, well, yeah, because this person is like this and like that and this. But even if a person is a nice person, maybe it's not the right person to be with as a friend, or like I said, in a romantic, more romantic relationship.
Mm.
In terms of intuitive eating, most people that I see have been through so many diets. I mean, not all of them, but many of them have tried, all kind of diets, keto diet, or, I mean, I'm not going to name them because there are so many of them, and they're completely lost. It's like they've lost the compass, and in fact, they don't believe that they can get back to what's good for them. And most of the time, when they come to see me, it's because they want to lose weight. And at first, when I tell them about eating more intuitively and more mindfully, or both, in fact, um, they don't really believe in it at first, because they think, well, I need rules. I need you to tell me how I should eat, what I should eat, when I should eat. And I say, well, I'm not that kind of guy. I'm not someone who's going to tell you what's good for you. You're the only one who knows what you like, what you need, depending on your lifestyle, depending on how much exercise you do, and so I'm not going to give you I'm not going to tell you what or when you should eat, but I'm going to teach you, how to be in touch with these needs that your body and you, of course, have. It's usually a longer path than doing a diet, than starting a diet, or doing a diet, because it's about reconnecting to your own senses. And so sometimes that's my training as a psychotherapist. It's about being able to understand why we've put aside our senses, and the role that our emotions play in this. So I work a lot on emotions. um, I've created the food and emotion diary, which is a diary that I ask my clients after like a few sessions to fill in. And the idea is for them to check in with their emotions. So let's say it's 4 p.m. and they feel like eating something. I ask them to first check in with their emotion. Okay, how do I feel? I feel tired. I feel stressed. I feel angry. I feel sad. That's how I feel. And sometimes, and that's that, and I was Georgie has helped me with this, because a good way to help you checking with your emotion is to breathe properly, you know. And Georgie could explain this much better. And then the second question they should answer on the diary is, oh, how hungry am I? Am I a bit hungry? Am I very hungry? Or sometimes they say, I don't know. In fact, if you don't know, it means you're not hungry, because if you're hungry, your body is telling you, hey, come on, I need some food, I need some energy. The way I describe it, it seems like it's, you know, it's like a long process, but it only takes, after like a week practicing it, it just takes a few seconds. It's checking in with your emotions and then asking yourself, how hungry am I? And doing it again when you're done, let's say with half of your meal or half of your sandwich, whatever it is. And it works. And when it starts working, it's like a revelation. It's like, oh my God, I didn't know I could really trust myself. I could trust my the you know, what my body is telling me when I have enough food, when the kind of food I should go for as well. So it's about the quantity of food, but also what kind of food we feel like having. And it's kind of difficult because there is so much advice on the social media, in the press. You know, you should eat this, you shouldn't eat meat, you shouldn't eat too much fat, you shouldn't eat too much. I mean, there's so much. It's like a big mess, and so we're lost. I mean, many of us are really lost. And then there is a food industry which is not helping, because they're like covering their products with, I mean, or selling their products and covering their message with so much crap. I'm getting angry when I speak about it, because I think it's no, the way we're being manipulated by the food industry, by the media. Sometimes it's a shame, because it creates so much eating disorder. I mean, the eating disorders now are massive, and health-wise, it's terrible. So we see a big range of people having a lot of people having a big range of health issues just because they don't eat properly.
Mm.
So yeah, I'm passionate about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Philippe, can I jump in there actually? Because it's really interesting when you talk about social media and actually how social media is driven to
Sorry
create
for the cat.
No,
sorry.
it's fine. It's funny.
We welcome the cat. But how social media is actually driven to create addiction. And of course, we know that dopamine, that hit of pleasure, plus cortisol, that stress hormone, equals addiction. And it's really interesting with dysfunctional exercise, because I suppose what we're really talking about here, whether you eat too much or too little, is dysfunctional eating. It's eating that is not serving your body because there's no awareness. Those shoulda, coulda, wouldas that the internet and the press are constantly throwing at us for their benefit, because if we're addicted to social media, they make more money. So it's completely their intention to get us addicted. It's the food markets and the food industry's intention to get us addicted to whatever food they're selling. And so, of course, those marketers are trying to get you addicted. But the thing is there's a really interesting 2016 study actually that did a huge a bit of study with 518 females and males all around sort of key pillars of emotion and relation to exercise, relation to how much they trust their bodies, to how mindfully they exercise, but also to how intuitively they eat and what their sort of motivation is to eat and exercise. And they found the three key emotions associated with obsessive or compulsive exercise, which goes hand in hand with excessive and compulsive eating, was euphoria, withdrawal, and guilt. Now, those three words, euphoria, withdrawal, and guilt, to me, I'm thinking as well, that's completely linked to eating and food as well, those three words.
Of course it is. Yeah, yeah.
Massively.
Of course it is. And
That's
then
really interesting.
yeah, it is. And there is the fear as well, the fear of not doing the right thing, the fear of fear is a massive one as well, I think.
Yeah.
And then there is a guilt when you, especially even more for parents. In fact, most parents are not most, many parents are really lost. They don't know how to, they should do, what kind of food they should give to their kids. And yeah, it's a big thing. It has a lot to do with being, how would I say that? Intimate. We're not intimate with ourselves. Intimacy is really key to all this. It's about being intimate with ourselves and knowing what's good for ourselves, knowing who we are, what we need, and what we're looking for. And then you can only be intimate with others when you're intimate with yourself, because otherwise, how can you connect properly to others if you're not intimate with yourself? And we've lost this kind of intimacy. It's like we're looking for clues in the outside world. We don't have this connection with ourselves.
Yeah.
And yeah, like you said, you talked about business. If I would come up with like a diet, and because I've seen so many of them, I really know what people are looking for, at first, before we start chatting together. um, I mean, I would make so much more money if I would come up with a diet. I would
With
find
the fix, right? The
a
solution.
fix, with a fix, yeah, with
The
a
quick
fix.
fix. The same with exercise. Like, I would be a millionaire PT if I could convince the population that I had the one workout that was going to work for
Yeah,
every single person and make. But this is the interesting bit, right? For what? What's the workout for? What are you meeting?
yeah,
What's, because everyone is looking for the fix, but they can never quite tell you what the fix is for. If you really ask them, you often get a sometimes I get people that are really honest and they're like, I just want to look like Ariana Grande. I'm not gonna
mm-hmm,
lie. And you're
mm-hmm,
like, that's a genuine something someone said to me. Fine, okay, but
yeah,
why do you want to look like Ariana Grande? Could you consider that your societal conditioning, that patriarchal conditioning that small is better, has actually led us all to believe in this ideal that is not actually serving us in any way, that it's
no, I know.
actually been programmed into our minds? Because we're like, what is that really the goal? That's really what we're spending all this money for, all these things on, to be small?
Mm,
Why?
mm-hmm. No,
Right?
I know, but it's we can, and here we tend to smile or laugh about it, but there is so much pain behind all that. There is so much despair and so much pain. And the thing that I've noticed is that most people don't believe in it. So somehow they will start a diet, or they will start, and I suspect it's kind of the same with exercising. They say, okay, I'm going to go to the gym. But if they're really honest with themselves, they don't believe in it, they don't believe they will get there. So somehow they know already that maybe they will lose some weight at some point, maybe they will be fitter, but somehow it's they know they will fail. It's like in advance they know somehow at some point they will fail. And it makes sense because they've done it so many times before. They've started a gym class, or they've started a diet, and they failed because, and of course they failed because that's how it's supposed to be. Well, it's not supposed to be, let's say, but I'm not surprised they failed.
Well, I agree, but also there are some people that I know with workouts which I myself admire, in some ways, but also can turn into such dysfunctional regimes, insanity, CrossFit, these crazy workout programs
Hmm.
that just seem to be getting wilder and wilder and wilder.
Yeah, I
How
know.
extreme can you take your body? Is People will become so determined to do it that dysfunctional exercise, an element of dysfunctional exercise, is pushing beyond the point of pain, that they
Hmm.
will actually push themselves to the point where they have finished that program or they've lost the weight, but it's so unrealistic that they can't sustain it.
Hmm.
So maybe they didn't fail, they lost the weight for a week.
No,
And
I know, and I've got some clients who got there, and then they contacted me saying, okay, I cannot do it anymore. I'm drained. I'm exhausted.
Mm,
It's really the price is too high. But I know that as soon as I'll stop, I'll put on some weight. I know
yeah,
it because of course they will. I mean, and so I need your help because I need you to help me on that path. I will put on some weight, but I need to find another way to get there.
yeah.
And I was, can you tell me more about in fact, what intuitive fitness is. What does it look like? What does it? Do you give classes? Seriously, I don't know. I'm not pretending. I don't know.
No, no, no,
I don't know
absolutely.
for
Yeah, yeah.
sure. I don't know for sure what it's like.
Yeah. So I actually work with a framework which has been inspired by an incredible South African doctor who I call the Beyonce of medicine, Dr. Ilamanga, who I'm actually interviewing tomorrow.
Okay.
I know. And but anyway, she uses a breathwork framework called awareness, regulation, transformation. And that's because breathwork can be very overwhelming these days. There's the Wim Hof technique, there's DeRose meditation, there's so many. If you start Googling breathwork, it's
There's a
like,
lot. I've seen
oh
that.
my
Yeah.
God, you know, you just thought breathing was breathing, but it's like 500 methods that you just become overwhelmed. And so she, as a doctor, has basically said they go into these three categories. You're either watching your breath, you're regulating your breath, or you're doing the Wim Hof where you are transforming. And medically, you know, you can talk about shifting pH balances and all things like that. But I thought, actually, intuitive is kind of a huge concept and can be quite an overwhelming word when you think, what does that mean? And you're like, well, listening to your body. And you're like, really? And if people don't trust their bodies, that can be quite overwhelming. So I thought, can I use this framework to help to create a program that's a little bit different to a normal personal training program? So right now I see people on a one-to-one basis, and many people kind of around my age range, some a little bit older, more so in their 30s, 40s. I'm 25. And I see a lot of women my age that are very obsessive with meeting an ideal, very much hooked into the idea that working out should be painful, otherwise you're not working. And I go off 16 questions initially that was brought about by a brilliant woman called Tally Rye, who's been doing intuitive fitness for a while. And those questions were used in a study as well. And it's all about your relationship to your own body. Do you exercise when you're feeling depressed or stressed? Do you use it as sort of a numbing, a bit like alcohol? Because that's
like food, in fact.
Like food, that's an addictive quality, right? Do you binge out on exercise when you're feeling stressed out, or you don't feel worthy, you don't feel good enough? When you're working out is when I ask people, what are you thinking? You know, when you're running, are you just thinking, am I losing weight? Am I losing weight? Or are you thinking, I feel so energized, I feel so strong? That's two very different types of working out. And so I ask them these questions basically to understand. That's very much part of the first step, awareness, to help both them and me understand their relationship with their own body and their relationship with exercise. So I say, do you trust your body to know when to stop working out? You know, if they say no, I know that they're probably pushing past the point of pain to try and meet some 5-10K goal that Google has told them is good, you know. Many different questions like that. And I asked them to describe health in 3 words, and I asked them to describe fit in 3 words. That's always very interesting. If someone is asked to describe fit, and the first word they say very common is skinny, I go, okay. Right. Elaborate. And then we have a chat, because once you really get down to it, you're like, you know, fit and skinny are actually opposite things. You know, if you want to feel really strong, you don't really want to be a twiglet. It's not,
no, of course, yeah,
not the same thing. And so anyway, that's part of awareness. Regulation is more your standard PT. I go, okay, so forget how you want to look. How do you want to feel? And then we go through that conversation and we get why, because as we said, intention is so important. We talked about that in previous conversations, that getting to know your own body, but then why do you want to change? What do you want to be different about how you feel? Because if you feel good, your body's going to look amazing as a result. I don't know anyone that's living their best life, feeling their best, that doesn't just have this glow about them and look amazing because they want to move.
You're right.
You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, then we get clear on how they want to feel. So let's say an example client, let's call her Chloe, wants, you know, for the sake of making this up, she wants to feel strong, energized, and have a spring in her step. I'm like,
Mhm.
cool. So from there, I'll construct a sort of what would be a normal PT program. Of course, there has to be working out. And we'll do a session every week, and then they'll have like 2-3 sessions a week to do at home. But when they're at home, I give them a rough framework, and then I give them autonomy over their own process. So I'll say, here's a couple of guided exercises that want to suit your goals, but then I want you to pick your favorite cardio. Do 20 minutes of cardio, go jump on a trampoline, go do some skipping, go see how that feels, go dance around your kitchen for 20 minutes. I don't care, just get your heart rate up.
Mhm.
Because for me,
Mhm.
and we talked about this before, if you don't want to be an athlete, if you don't want to win a gold medal, why are you running 10Ks every day? Or try like acting like you're training for a marathon when actually you just want to go down a size in your jeans or something.
Mhm.
You know, I'm like, that doesn't make sense. Why are you training like an athlete when you're not an
Well,
athlete?
because that's the trend. That's
The
what they
trend.
see.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
work hard, play hard, all of that. When I'm like, no, no, no. Athletes are paid to train like crazy, but they also rest as much as they train, and that's why
Mhm.
they're still alive. You know, whereas if you have a full-time job and kids and you're training like an athlete, it's no
No,
wonder
exactly.
that you are having a
Mhm.
mental breakdown. Anyway, so we work on that for a period of time, and then the transformation element really just comes together from a check-in. We do a 6-week check-in where we ask those questions again, and we do a basic little fitness test, which is tailored to them. And it's always using body weight. I always try and leave numbers out of it as much as I can. And I work with effort level. So if they
With
can
what?
do,
Sorry, with
I
what
work with
level?
effort level. So I use 10% to 100%. So I'll say, okay, when you did, maybe we'll say, how many burpees can you do in a minute? Or, you know, can you run on the spot for a minute, or anything that's sort of deemed quite difficult. And I'll say, okay, in 6 weeks, they might say, actually, last time it took 100% effort. This week I could do exactly the same thing with 70% effort. They
Mhm.
know that they've got fitter because they can do more with less effort. And so
Yeah,
they're
and
like,
and
what
it feels
else can I
good.
do? What else can I do? Rather than going, oh, no, 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 you can lift 0.3 heavier, or you know, you've got a personal best on your running, numbers, numbers, numbers. I'm like, no, how did you feel? Did it feel easier? Do you feel stronger? Do you feel, yeah. And so we
Mhm.
check in,
Yeah.
and that's where the transformation aspect comes, putting it all together and creating a workout that they love, that is sustainable, but most of all, creating a mindset and creating a positive relationship with their bodies. So that
Mhm.
is the way I work. And that's what intuitive fitness is to me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's clear. No, and it's funny because you were you were telling us about the questions that you ask. One of the first questions that I ask my clients is how much weight they would like to lose,
Mm-hmm.
and they come up with, I don't know, they say 5 kilos or 30 kilos, 60 kilos, depending really.
Random number, right? Yeah.
No, not random. It's not
Right.
random. In fact, and I say, okay, and when was the last time you had that weight? That you're, and some would say, well, it's the just before my wedding,
Ah,
or when
yes.
I was 20. I remember this vacation in Bologna, and I felt so good. I was so slim, but then that was like 20 years earlier. Or in the
Right.
meantime, if it's for women, in the meantime they had kids probably sometimes, or and, or the menopause is there as well, which makes a big difference.
Yeah, huge.
And so as long as, so it's a very interesting benchmark for me to know, a number to know, because I tell them, well, you're going to be disappointed because you're probably not going to get there anyway, not with me, because it seems like it's not realistic. And I tell them, how about uh, eating more mindfully, more intuitively, seeing how the things in your life can be improved so that you can be more in touch with, more intimate with yourself. That's a more psychological part of my work. And see, and see where it's gonna, which way you're gonna reach, and see if you're okay with that when you get there, instead of having this goal which is doesn't make much sense, in fact. Well, it makes sense, in fact, for them, but it's not realistic at all.
Yeah.
And some of them are really disappointed when I say that. But I don't. I mean, I could take so many more clients by saying, "Yeah, okay, you're going to lose these 20 kilos, and you're 45 or you're 50 now, but you're going to get back to the weight you had when you were 20." And but I know it's not going to work. It's not.
Right.
It's a recipe for failure. I think that's the way you say it.
Or perhaps it's a recipe for mental disappointment, that you might have that body but you won't feel the way you expected to feel. I
No, you might
find, yeah,
exactly. You might have that weight. You might reach that weight, but you won't keep it, or except if you start like exercising like crazy, or not eating properly, and in order to keep it, and you won't be happy, and it's unhealthy.
and it's interesting because you're so right with the, as humans, of course, everything is emotional whether we realize it or not. So if someone's attached a memory to that weight, saying that's how I felt on the day before my wedding day or on this vacation, then once they get back to that weight and those feelings don't come back that they
Yeah,
had just
yeah.
before their wedding day, that's going to be a huge disappointment. And it's interesting that they'll come to a therapist going, can you give that to me? Can you give
Hmm.
me those feelings again? And
Hmm.
it's like, no one in the world can give you those feelings again other than
Well,
you.
you can have these feelings again if it was a feeling of happiness, a feeling of like well-being. You can get back to the feeling, but
Yes.
it shouldn't be linked to a number, to a weight that you
Oh,
had then. So yeah, it's fascinating. In fact,
yeah.
I mean, we all. I don't judge anyone for that, because we're
No.
in somehow we all like that. We like
Oh, 100.
comparing ourselves to who we were before or to others. We look at the numbers of sales for a book, the number of the weights, the number, you know,
Instagram likes.
in Instagram likes, yeah. So we all do that, and but it's okay if we do it a bit, but then we should have some kind of a distance with that, and not let others or what others show of themselves ruin our own life. In fact,
I completely
um,
agree. I
yeah.
agree. Yeah. Um, I actually, if you don't mind, Philippe, I actually think something really resonates. It's just a tiny little excerpt. That's something from a book I've been really inspired by in my process that I really wanted to share.
Hmm.
And it's called The Body Keeps Score. It's an amazing book that I've been really inspired by, and it says the price for ignoring or distorting the body's messages is being unable to detect what is truly dangerous or harmful for you, and just as bad, what is safe or nourishing. Self regulation depends on having a healthy relationship with your body. Without it, you have to rely on external regulation,
Hmm.
medication, drugs like alcohol, constant reassurance, or compulsive compliance with the wishes of others.
No, it
Um,
makes a lot of sense,
that
and
really
and
got
to
me.
and it's the same goes with the emotions, in fact, because our emotions, they send us. So we should listen to what our body is telling us, but also what our emotions are telling us. When we feel angry, for example, or frustrated, so why am I feeling like that? What's going on? um, you know Anger is there to tell us something is not right, and I should change something. Either you're angry at someone or at a situation, or fear, for example, is there to save our life. Let's say, you're in the street and you hear like a big noise, and you have this fear. You think, and you look behind you, and maybe it's going to save your life, whatever is going on. Or you're at home and it smells like something is burning, and then suddenly you have this thing where you think, okay, something's not right. So it's there to save your life. And yeah, and sadness. These are the main three emotions. Talking about eating disorders and weight issues, it's anger, sadness, and fear. And yeah, we should listen to them, because they tell us something really important. So some people will tell you, "Oh, come on, don't be so. You're always angry, or it will be all right, or oh, don't be sad, it will be okay." No, if I'm sad, it means I'm grieving something, and it's if I'm sad, I want to feel that sadness. And the only way to purge it is to purge, or to get rid of the sadness, is to cry, in fact, most of the time. And but it's not very sexy to be angry. It's not very sexy to be sad or to be fearful.
No,
I mean, that's what many people think. In fact, I'm touched by that when someone,
me too.
in my therapy room, when someone expressed that, I think, oh, okay, we're moving forward because now that person is able to detect that emotion that they're, dealing with, and they know what it means, and then we can move forward with things.
Yeah, yeah, me too. Even, I mean, like people rarely cry in my personal training sessions, I suppose, 'cause it's not quite the same idea. But I have euphoric moments actually when people will shout out a frustration
Mm.
where they actually come to confront a belief. And that's usually a breakthrough moment. I've had many a moment where clients have shouted, "This is not working." They've literally gone, "It's not working."
Yeah.
And I go, "What's not working?"
Mm.
And they'll go, "It's just, it's not working, it's not doing it." And I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
"Okay, that's okay.
Mm.
What's not doing it?" And they're like, "It's," and I'm like, "What is it supposed to be doing?" And they're like, "It's supposed to be burning and hurting and blah, blah, blah."
Mm.
And then they'll go, "Oh, right, I have a belief that all exercise should be miserable, painful." It's not, and that's incorrect at all.
Yeah. No.
Some
No.
gold medal athletes, right? They'll run a huge marathon. 90% of it will be at an easy pace. 10% they go for it.
Hmm.
It's not all painful and awful, and it's such a misconception that that's always a big breakthrough moment when people confront those beliefs that they're like, "Look, I can't feel it like I want to." And we talked about sensation seeking, right? Always wanting to
Mm.
feel something. Um,
It's funny because when I can say it before we started this chat, I ask you how are you, and you say I'm all right, and then you say no, in fact I'm not all right, and you mentioned something which did annoy you today or yesterday, and I like that because most people, when you meet them, this and you ask them how are you, they say I'm all right, I'm okay, and
yeah,
fine. And I mean, okay, sometimes it makes sense when it's when it's someone helping you in a shop or in a restaurant. You don't need to start. You don't need to share everything that's happening with. But when you know someone better, it's okay to say, well, I'm all right, but this is annoying me, or I've been sad because I've heard this, and
yeah.
it's okay. It's okay to share that.
It's okay to
It
be human, you know?
doesn't make you more vulnerable. I think there is this idea that if we start sharing our emotions, it will make us more vulnerable. In fact, I think it's the opposite. The more we keep our emotions for ourselves and we're not even in touch with them, the more we get vulnerable, because at some point it will have to come out, and it will come out in a way which is not the right way. It will, either we will shout at someone because we've kept a frustration or an anger for too long, so we'll shout at someone who doesn't really deserve it, in fact. um, or we can, if it's sadness, we can sometimes get into some kind of depression because we didn't acknowledge the fact that we were sad earlier on. It takes time, of course. You don't get depressed just it doesn't take a day, but sometimes some people have some very deep sadness for such a long time, and then at some point it turns into depression. Depression is more complex than that, but I'm just to give you an example. So yeah, no,
Absolutely.
it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Do you think, Philippe, that sort of with all of this, and of course, intuitive eating and intuitive fitness are so linked, that it's actually about the person themselves? Yes, perhaps coming to, say, someone like you or me for guidance, but taking the power back, understanding that it's not about anyone trying to fix anything. There's nothing to fix. It's just about having autonomy over your own health and
Yeah.
your own choices, and that's how you create a sustainable lifestyle that
Oh,
is
of course, yeah.
better.
No, I really believe that, and when we're done with my clients and I, like after sometimes it takes 6 months, sometimes it takes a year or two, they thank me, which I appreciate. But I tell them, I remind them, but you did most of the work. I mean, I've been guiding you on that path, and because you needed someone to guide you, but so we had this journey together, but you did most of the work because for me I'm not going to say it's easy, but it's my job. But for them, it's confronting because it means going through a lot of changes sometimes in their life, and changes are scary for everyone. So
Yeah.
let's say if you're in a toxic relationship with a partner, sometimes, through the chats that my clients have with them, they will realize, well, this is not working for me, and so they will have to either address this relationship or end it. And so they do most of the work, and
Yeah.
I guide them and I'm there for them, but they do most of the work. And by saying this, and I mean that, it's like I want to tell them, you're in charge, it's your responsibility. Okay, I guide you, but you've done all the work. I'm just, and that's really, so that's why, yeah, yeah.
I think that's the same with any therapy. Having been through therapy myself
Mm,
recently, I really think a therapist really is there even in the most dramatic sense of course people go to therapy for some hugely traumatic things, but they really are there to hold space and to listen.
mhm,
Very rare is it they're actually just given space to go, okay, no judgment, how are you actually feeling?
mhm.
No, you don't need to show up as anyone, just speak.
Yeah,
And that's actually quite unique in today's world, I think. So holding a space and listening,
a safe space.
a safe space,
Yeah,
yeah, holding a safe
yeah.
space, I think that's what. And of course there's anyone would be a therapist if it was just that. There's lots more to it than that, obviously, the
Mm,
guidance. But if you really get down to the baseline, I really think it is that holding a safe space to where someone can be the change that they've always wanted to be,
mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. So again, I think all this, so you're an intuitive fitness instructor. I work a lot on intuitive eating, but it's just about being intuitive. It's being intuitive in every aspect of your life, and it's a journey, because you don't get there. You have to give yourself more credit. Usually, you have to trust the process, and sometimes it's not an easy one. Sometimes it can take some time, but then once you've done it, I mean, it changes your life.
Yeah.
And it's something that, sometimes you will have step backs. Sometimes things will get difficult again, but you have the tools, because they're in you. You don't need any, you don't need to see any guru, or you have the tools to get back on track. And that's an amazing thing, really.
Yeah, I agree. And in terms of fitness, a lot of people say, well, what is that in real life context? What does that mean? And I sort of say, well, it's about removing the I have to and replacing that with what do I want to? And you'll
Mhm.
actually, because people think that if they live intuitive, that intuitively they're like, well, I won't exercise at all then, because
Mhm.
I hate
Yeah.
exercise. And I
Mhm.
say, well, no, you've built a negative relationship with exercise, and it's time to befriend it again and say, okay, what do I want to do? That's when you wake up and you go, oh my God, I feel like running right now.
Mhm.
I feel like I'm going to go for a run.
Mhm.
Screw it. And then
Yeah.
they go and they come back and they ring me and they're like, I just ran 7K. And I'm
Mhm.
like,
Mhm.
wow, great. Not because they were told to, not because
Because
they
they were
felt,
enjoying it, and
not
it,
because
yeah.
they didn't even know they'd run 7K till the end. They looked at their Strava or whatever they recorded it on and went, oh my gosh, that was 7K. I
Yeah.
just felt like running and I just went.
Yeah.
It was sunny and
Yeah,
I
it's a completely different experience than
totally
going to.
different.
Yeah, yeah,
Totally different experience. If you, like I said to you before, I love road cycling and I cycle to every different coffee shop I can find.
yeah.
And that's my fun day out. And
And the coffee is part of the experience.
yeah, it's the reason I cycle. I'm
Yeah.
always like flat white, flat
And
white.
I walk. Personally, I walk a lot. In fact, I even do walking sessions with my clients. So I walk with my clients in some of London parks,
Yeah.
and I love walking, because then I look around, and there is this. I don't know. I smell the. Right now there is a lot of flowers, so I smell flowers. When it's raining, I smell the smell of the rain on the leaves on the trees, and the sound. So I cross paths with people, and I just for half a second I hear what they say. I hear a bit of their conversation. I love it. I love walking, and I don't look at. And sometimes, occasionally, I will look and I say, "Shit, I've been walking a lot. I did like 20 or 25K, but I've enjoyed it,
Yeah.
because I'm really there when I'm walking, and I enjoy it. most of the time I enjoy every step of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Can you be relaxed and be working your body at the same time? And all that's got to do is your mind and your intention. And it's like
Mm.
if you're running to be in nature, and because you just feel so free when you run,
Mhm.
then you won't be in this stressful state of, okay, 5K, 6K, one more K. Oh my God, I hate this. I hate this. That's
Mm.
so different to like, hey, I'm going to buy a hula hoop and I'm going to, if you're a mom, get with my 3-year-old and
Yeah.
just like hula it out for an hour. That's a great workout,
No, I know. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't do it. I've never done it, but I can imagine. It sounds fun anyway.
I
Yeah.
love hula hooping. It's so fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. And it's like, if it makes you smile, then you should try it. If it
But
doesn't,
same goes with food, and again, same goes with food. Is if when you're about to eat, you're worried about how much you're gonna eat, about what's on your plate, about am I gonna eat all that? And whilst you're eating, if again you're thinking, oh, I should stop here, but it's so good, or you're not enjoying it, you're not in touch with your sensations, and yeah, it's about the smell of the food, it's about the texture, the taste, the temperature, when you and um, it's an experience. I mean, it's not like it's not like an orgasm, let's say, but it's an
sometimes,
experience. Well, it might be,
but it's
but
it's like it's like who you're with, right? Where you are when you eat. And
yeah, and most people, they don't see it that way. They have food and they're worried, or most people eat way too quickly as well. They don't even realize. So when they're done with their food, they think, "Oh shit, I ate too much." But in fact, and did I like it? I think it was all right. I think they're not connected to what's going on. So yeah,
yeah.
I was wondering if Monica had some questions for
Me
us.
too, me too. Monica, our honorary guest. Do you have
Thank you.
Because we talk a
Do
lot.
you? Mm?
Because we talk a lot, Georgie and I. So it's
yeah.
good to.
And I listen a lot.
Okay, good.
Very, very interesting. When is the second part of the meeting?
I don't know. We didn't plan it. We didn't plan it yet.
Mm,
We didn't plan it. The idea was, to have a chat and share our views on intuitive eating, intuitive fitness, and from there we will see if we want to move forward with a workshop. See how we could do it in a way that makes sense for everyone. So it's a work. It's a project we're working on, but we don't know yet.
Yeah, we're just kind of we did a little podcast episode and then we said, hey, we want to share this with people and see how people receive it. Because of course me and Philippe could just talk for weeks, but we don't know how everyone else is absorbing what we're saying. So we're
Yeah.
like, we want to know, if people understand it as we do, or if
yes.
it resonates with people as we say it and they go, oh my goodness, yeah, or if they're like, no way. So, and then from there, it's so linked that we are like, we have to do workshops on this, we have to develop, but it's all a work in progress. So yeah, what did you take from that, Monica? What sort of really caught your attention?
Everything.
Everything.
Everything. I liked it very much.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
I was just wondering something. Do you use meditation in both your works?
Yeah,
I don't. Yeah.
Okay.
I do. Yeah, I mean, I say Philippe does as well, because Philippe asks people to take 3 deep breaths before they start a meal.
Yeah.
So I'd say Philippe does. Like, a meditation doesn't have to be like, as a breathwork coach, a meditation does not have to be like 10 minutes of like
Yeah.
a meditation can be 3 deep breaths, and so
Yes.
I especially clients that are into running, anything endurance based, I ask them to focus on their breathing if they're doing something for a long period of time that's continuous, and we see if we can turn it into a running meditation, because meditation just means you're focusing on your breath, which means you're in the present moment, which means you're aware of your inner sensations. And so that's why it's beneficial to me. But yeah.
I'm sure it's beneficial, and yeah, I didn't see it as what I was doing as meditation, but I'm sure it's beneficial. I'm sure it's something that yeah. I would like to know more, in fact, about meditation and learn more about that. So when I said I don't use it, it's just because I don't know much about it, and I'm sure it's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything else, Monica?
No, I'm
Okay.
thinking of all what I've heard.
No, it's fine. Maybe it takes, if you've got questions, or things you would like to ask us, you can contact us. I think we got in touch, huh? You
Yes,
and I.
with mail, yes.
Yeah. So don't hesitate to send me an email, or if it's something more specific concerning intuitive fitness, I will send your email to Georgie, and we love the idea of being there and helping people. Of course, it's our business. I mean, that's we're not going to pretend. We just, but we love the idea of helping people and spreading the word that can be kind and caring to yourself. It's just that's what it's all about. It's being intimate, kind, and caring to yourself. And if we can and there is just you now, of course, this meeting is recorded, so we're going to send it to many more people. But if we just reach a few people, and if they can spread the word, it's really something that we're happy with. That we really are. Yeah,
truly. And I think we talked earlier before we started recording, Philippe, about shifting the status quo is not something that happens overnight. You hear all about Einstein and how he was laughed out of the room at his first ideas, and many other hugely famous people who were mocked for years. They said, your ideas are stupid. That's never going to take off. No one's ever going to jump on board with that. And I think stuff like this almost, I think many people are very far gone with their conditioning and ideas that it should be a certain way and that things should be difficult. And it takes a lot of nurturing and a lot of love to bring people back, to teach them to go on the journey to love themselves, so it takes time. And
in fact, it's loving yourself, because sometimes a journalist was asking me, but do you love yourself? I say, I don't know if I love myself. I don't know if it's that important to love yourself, but you should first know yourself and respect yourself and be caring for yourself. I don't know if it's about love.
No.
And because there is this thing that you should love yourself, and it's even asking people to love themselves can be it can be quite demanding. So just listen to yourself and hear what your mind and your body has to tell you, and respect that, and do things accordingly. And then if you love yourself, that's even better. But I would start by these steps, in fact, which I think are really important.
I agree. I think maybe you're right that perhaps instead of loving yourself, it's that actually the act of listening to yourself and the act of awareness is a very loving thing to do. Doesn't mean you love yourself, but it's a loving thing to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Well, thank you for joining us, Monica.
Thank you very much, T.
And we'll let you know when we're ready with more of a proper workshop.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. Okay. And anyone watching this in the replay, like Philippe said, please feel free to get in touch we'll attach our email addresses in the email with the recording. With any questions, please do follow us both on social media. Those links will be in the email as well. Thank you, Monica, for
thank you.
And
you had a very private session now with
two.
I like that. In fact, I like that.
I'm very honored.
And we were honored to have you as well. Yeah. Have a nice evening, Monica.
The same to you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.